Legendary Duos. Legendary Duos are a pair of closely related legendary and mythical Pokemon, either representing partners or nemesis. In the games, Legendary Duos are often found at the end of the game, after the player enters the Hall of Fame. They're usually not as important to the main storyline as the Legendary Trios. We're going to talk about that kind of group in another video, so let's continue with the Duos. Sometimes, pairs of legendary Pokemon once only presented as duos are revealed to actually be legendary trios in a subsequent game. However, even with a new member, the dynamic between the two doesn't change. Kyogre and Groudon, Dialga and Palkia, and Reshiram and Zekrom are examples of this. Now let's talk about these duos one by one. The Mew Duo. The Mew Duo is the term referring to the main legendary and mythical Pokemon of the Kanto region. The term is created by fans, since one is basically the opposite or nemesis of the other. Let me explain what kind of Pokemon these two are. Mew. Mew, classified as a new species Pokemon, whatever that means, appears in the first generation games, where it can only be obtained through a special event or a particular glitch in Pokemon Red and Blue. Mew is known for its unique ability to learn all moves, all TM and HM. Only certain moves, like Volt Tackle and Secret Sword, cannot be learned because they are unique signature moves to certain Pokemon. Mew was first officially introduced in the May 1996 issue of Koro Koro, an old Japanese magazine for nerds, less than 2 months after the release of Pokemon Red and Green in Japan. Mew is a small pink Pokemon with mammalian features. It has a rounded, cute face with large blue eyes. It has a long, thin tail, and its fur is so fine and thin that it can only be seen under a microscope. Mew is playful and childish. It is said to have the DNA of every single Pokemon contained within its body. This has led many scientists to theorize that Mew is the ancestor of all Pokemon, which is why it can use all moves and transform into every known Pokemon. I wonder why it's classified as a new species Pokemon if it's, basically, the ancestor of all Pokemon. According to some diaries found in the Pokemon Mansion in Kanto, Mr. Fuji is the one who discovered Mew deep in the jungle and coined its name. Along with other scientists, he managed to collect some of its DNA and used it in his mansion for secret experiments. Mew is the only known Pokemon capable of using the Z move, Genesis Supernova, and its stats are very well balanced, with a value of 100 for each stat. Mewtwo. Mewtwo is an artificial Pokemon, created directly using Mew's DNA by Mr. Fuji. It has a humanoid appearance with feline features. Its body is mostly gray, with a large, long purple tail. On top of its head, it has 2 short, blunt, ear-like horns, and a tube extends from the back of its skull to the top of its spine, giving it a more alien appearance than its pink nemesis. Mewtwo has a very cool design and always has a cold, evil look. According to the diaries found in the Pokemon Mansion, after discovering the mythical Pokemon and collecting some of its DNA, Mr. Fuji used it to create Mewtwo, aiming to make it the most powerful Pokemon in existence. It was kept and studied in the mansion, where it acquired extreme power and a ferocious temper due to the horrific experiments it underwent. It eventually broke free and escaped the mansion, destroying everything. Mewtwo is probably the coldest and most fearsome Pokemon, with its cold, glowing eyes. It's certainly not the most powerful of the legendary Pokemon, but it's definitely the one that best embodies the stereotype of the lone villain. Someone like Itachi or Vegeta, in my opinion. Mewtwo is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Psy-Strike, a very powerful and unique psychic move that targets the defense instead of the special defense stat. Because Mewtwo is one of the most beloved Pokemon by fans and the community at large, the developers created 2 Mega Evolutions for it, and even gave it a shadow version in the Pokemon Tournament game. Mega Mewtwo X. Mega Mewtwo X is the first Mewtwo Mega Evolution. It is a psychic and fighting type, and is larger and bulkier than its normal state. Its tail is slightly shorter and stiffer than before, and has a curled tip. Due to the Mega Evolution, Mega Mewtwo X's physical power received a formidable growth. Its muscles are augmented with psychic power, giving it a grip strength of a ton, and the ability to sprint 100 meters in 2 seconds. The design of this Mega Evolution is so damn awesome that it reminds me of Frieza with its battle suit. Mega Mewtwo X gets the ability Steadfast that raises the speed of the Pokemon every time it flinches. Talking about the stats, Mega Mewtwo X gets an insane boost on normal attack. 80 freaking points! I think it can karate chop the entire Pokemon world if it wants it. Oh, fun fact, it can stretch its arm like a Namekian for some reason, if we want to cite Dragon Ball again. Mega Mewtwo Y. The Y Mega Evolution is smaller and lighter. It weighs only 33 kilograms. It loses its long tail, underbelly, and the tube behind its neck. However, it grows a long purple appendage with a curled tip from the back of its head that is similar to its previous form's tail and also slightly resembles Jessie's hairstyle. On its head, it has 2 pointed, backward curving spikes and a half-ring structure connecting to the base of each and crossing over the top of its head. Despite its decreased size, this Mewtwo form has phenomenal mental power and is capable of smashing buildings with a mere thought. Mega Mewtwo Y stays constantly in the air due to its smaller size and increased power. It gets a boost in all stats, especially in attack, special attack that gets 40 points each. Only the defense stat gets nerfed for 20 points. Mega Mewtwo Y also gets a new ability, Insomnia, that prevents it from sleeping. I don't think that this is an overpowering ability, and not sure if it is very useful. Still better than nothing, I guess. Don't you think that this form is very similar to the final form of Frieza? The Tower Duo. The Tower Duo refers to Lugia and Ho-Oh, the two flying Pokemon of Johto. Lugia is the guardian of the seas, while Ho-Oh is the guardian of the skies. The two are also associated with two legendary trios, the three legendary birds of Kanto and the legendary beasts of Johto. While Mew and Mewtwo can be considered each other's nemesis, Lugia and Ho-Oh are, so to speak, a duality between coexistence and contrast. Something like the sky and the abyss, or heat and cold, I'd say. The contrasting duality is reflected in their stats. If you look closely, Lugia has the highest defense, while Ho-Oh has the highest attack stats. Let's go a little bit deeper. Lugia. Lugia is a large Pokemon that resembles the union of a dragon, a plesiosaur, and a bird. It is primarily silver-white, but it has blue undersides with slightly varying tones. It also has some blue plates protrusion on its back that it can fold back to increase its speed. In the anime series, it is shown that Lugia can breed, control the weather, and summon storms. I am not going to consider it canon, because we all know that the Pokemon that controls weather is another one. Lugia sure is a very powerful Pokemon. A light flutter of its wings is capable of causing winds powerful enough to tear a regular house down. If it was to flap its wings, it could hypothetically spawn storms lasting as long as 40 days, and it is capable of splitting islands as well. In ancient times, the former brass tower in Ecruteak City was once Lugia's perch. However, after its destruction 150 years ago, Lugia moved to the Whirl Islands for the safety of others from its own power. It can be summoned at the Whirl Islands through one of its feathers, the tidal bells, and the dance of the Kimono Girls. Oh, it also has a signature move that only it can learn, Aeroblast. Ho-Oh. Ho-Oh is an avian Pokemon resembling a phoenix and a peacock. Its feathers are predominantly gold and red, but also have some parts in yellow and green. Ho-Oh's wings are prismatic, causing it to trail a rainbow behind it when it flies. It is said that the rare few who bear witness to Ho-Oh are promised eternal happiness. In ancient times, the bell tower in Ecruteak City and the former bell tower in Goldenrod City were both once Ho-Oh's perch. When the brass tower was burned down 150 years ago, Ho-Oh descended from the sky, reviving 3 unnamed Pokemon into the legendary beasts. This resurrection ability of Ho-Oh is the only thing that doesn't suit the duality between it and Lugia. I think that the developers gave it this feature because Ho-Oh is inspired by the myth of the phoenix. Anyway, Ho-Oh can be summoned at the bell tower through one of its feathers, the clear bells, and the dance of the Kimono Girls. Prior to Generation 6, Ho-Oh was the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Sacred Fire. The Eon Duo, or Infinity Duo if we consider the Japanese nickname, consist of Latias and Latios. They are also referred to as twins Pokemon by the fans, since they are basically the same in appearance. They are the legendary Pokemon of the Hoenn region, particularly living on Southern Island. They share the same types, Dragon and Psychic, the ability Levitate, and are affiliated with the Soul Dew item. Latias. Latias, the female of the Eon Duo, can be captured without a special event item in Pokemon Sapphire, Emerald, and Alpha Sapphire. Its stats lean towards defense, and it can augment its high special defense with its signature move, Mist Ball, which weakens the foe's special attack 50% of the time. Latias has a bird-like body stylized after a plane. Its long neck stretches forward from its squat body. It has no legs and it is always floating in the air. Its body is white and red and has some jet plane wings high on its rear and fins on the bottom near its tail. It has short, 3-fingered arms with a red covering on the outer side of the lower arms. Latias is a female-only species, with Latios being the male counterpart. Latias ruffles its feathers and cries loudly when there is hostility toward it. Its glass-like, downy feathers can enfold its body and refract light, which allows it to become invisible. It is gentle, highly intelligent, and can understand human speech. It is capable of using telepathy to communicate with others. Latias and Latios, of course, can be summoned by the Eon Flute, and this is why they are called the Eon Duo. Latias is the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Mist Ball, its signature move as said before. It also has a Mega Evolution. In this form, its appearance doesn't change so much. It becomes purple instead of red, and in this form it can reach a speed of March 4th. Due to being smaller than Latios, Latias is much more agile and can make very sharp turns. I guess it is faster than Latios for this reason. What do you think? Write it in the comments. Latios. Latios is the male version of Latias. It can be catched in Pokemon Ruby, Emerald, and Omega Ruby. Latios, as all the male Pokemon, has higher offensive stats, and can augment its high special attack with its signature move, Luster Purge, which has a 50% chance of lowering the target's special defense. Its appearance is pretty much the same as Latias. It is just a little bit bigger than its female counterpart, and its color is white and blue. Latios has a gentle nature and will avoid fighting whenever possible. In the anime, however, Latios has a grumpy attitude that can easily distrust humans sometimes. It can summon explosive light energy whenever an offensive situation is required, and, as for Latias, it also can be summoned by the Eon Flute. Latios Mega Evolution is the same as Latias, same color changing, and same speed upgrade. As said before, in my opinion, Latios should be slower than its female counterpart for its bigger size. The Lunar Duo. The Lunar Duo is a fan term for a duo consisting of the legendary Pokemon Cresselia and the mythical Pokemon Darkrai that reside in the Sinnoh region. The lunar Pokemon Cresselia and the pitch-black Pokemon Darkrai are commonly seen as polar opposites, with the former being based on the crescent moon and the latter on the new moon. Cresselia and Darkrai reside on Full Moon Island and New Moon Island, respectively, which are direct mirror images of each other. Additionally, Darkrai is said to give people nightmares, while Cresselia gives people pleasant dreams. Cresselia is female only, while Darkrai is a gender-unknown Pokemon. Cresselia. Cresselia, the lunar Pokemon, can be found roaming the Sinnoh region in Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, Brilliant Diamond, and Shining Pearl. She is also available on Marvelous Bridge in Pokemon Black 2 and White 2, on Crescent Isle in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and in the Ultra Space Wilds Cliff World in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. Cresselia's stats, since it is a female, are more defensive than its counterpart, having a base 110 for defense and 120 for special defense, as well as having base 120 HP. Cresselia's signature move, Lunar Dance, causes the user to faint, but restores the HP and PP and removes all non-volatile status conditions, except fainting, of the Pokemon that is sent out to take its place. Its other signature move, Lunar Blessing, instead restores its and its allies' HP by 25% of their maximum HP, and heals any non-volatile status conditions they may have. Cresselia is a Pokemon that has a blue, swan-like body with a yellow underside. There are yellow, crescent-shaped ornaments on the sides of its head that merge in the back. It also has glowing, pink, ring-like wings on its sides and back. Cresselia normally levitate as Latios do. It resides on Full Moon Island and is said to represent the crescent moon. Its veil-like wings release shining particles when it flies. It also leaves a line of light as it soars throughout the night sky, with Professor Laventon noting that it bears a resemblance to the heavenly maiden who created the Milky Way. Those who sleep holding Cresselia's lunar feather are blessed with joyful dreams. It can dispel the nightmares caused by its counterpart, Darkrai. The relationship between Cresselia and Darkrai can vary between different individuals and canons, with some depicting it as antagonistic. Darkrai. Darkrai, the pitch-black Pokemon, is found on New Moon Island in Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum with the use of the member card. Unlike Cresselia, its stats are on the offensive side, having 135 special attack and 125 speed. Darkrai's signature move, Dark Void, puts all adjacent foes to sleep, with an accuracy of 50% for each Pokemon. Darkrai is a black, shadow-like Pokemon. It has a small head with a white fog-like ghostly plume billowing from its head, covering one of its bright blue eyes. It also has some red spiky growth around its neck. It basically looks like a man wearing an old, ripped cloak. Darkrai generally stays afloat in the air and does not have any sort of legs, but it is able to extend stilt-like appendages similar to legs and stand on the ground. As I said, Darkrai resides in New Moon Island, where it is active during the new moon or moonless nights. Its main ability is to lull people to sleep and make them experience horrible nightmares. However, it is not intentionally malicious and only does this as an act of self-defense or to chase people away from its territory. It is said that one time, Darkrai caused an entire village to experience nightmares, with the villagers having reported seeing it in their dreams. In the spin-off movie, The Rise of Darkrai, Darkrai has more abilities and skills, but I am not going to dive deeper because it is not canon to me. From Mega Dimension, the DLC of Pokemon Legends ZA, Darkrai can Mega Evolve into Mega Darkrai. When Mega Evolved, Darkrai's entire body doubles in length and becomes almost 5 times heavier. Its upper body grows larger and more spherical, while its arms transform into long tentacles that spin around its body. Mega Darkrai hovers horizontally with its head pointing forward. From this angle, with the new appendages, its body resembles a vile eye with twisting spikes. When the head disappears, Mega Darkrai's neck reveals a white pupil and blue iris, which, combined with the magenta color change, creates an unsettling resemblance to a demonic eye. In this form, Darkrai's nightmare powers have significantly increased, to the point where it can block out the sun and cast the entire area into total darkness. This allows it to seamlessly blend into its surroundings and disappear into the shadows. Don't you think that this is quite the infinite Tsukuyomi as a Pokémon? Sea Guardians. Sea Guardians is a fan term for a duo of mythical Pokémon consisting of Manaphy and Phione. They reside in the Sinnoh region, and the two share a signature move called Take Heart, a very nice move that cures the user of all status conditions and raises its offensive and defensive stats for 4 turns. Manaphy and Phione were introduced in Generation 4. The two are both capable of breeding, but only with Ditto, and for some reason, only Phione can hatch from those eggs. Let me go a bit into details. Manaphy. Manaphy, as said, is a water-type mythical Pokémon introduced in Pokémon Diamond and Pearl. It doesn't have any evolution and has the unusual ability to breed despite being a mythical Pokémon and being gender unknown. As said before, it can only be bred with Ditto due to its genderless characteristic. The most weird fact, however, is that from its egg, only a Phione will come out, which does not evolve into Manaphy. They are two different Pokémon, but at the same time the same Pokémon, and they look pretty much the same if you don't watch them carefully. Manaphy is a small, blue, aquatic Pokémon with stubby feet and club-like arms that are longer than its body. It has a red gem on its chest and some yellow dots on its body and head. Its onion-shaped head has a pair of long blue antennae. Manaphy was born on a cold seafloor and carries a special power that allows it to bond with any Pokémon. 80% of its body is made of water and is highly susceptible to its environment. Unlike other Pokémon eggs, Manaphy hatches from a distinctive one that resembles its appearance, featuring a blue color with multiple glowing yellow dots and a red gem-like center, known as a Manaphy egg. I have a question now. How is this egg produced, since Manaphy can only produce Phione's eggs? I think no one has the answer for that, so let's move on. Manaphy also prefers to live deep underwater, on the cold seafloor. It has been known to visit the coastal waters of Hisui, occasionally alongside Phione. It is born with a special power that allows it to bond with any Pokémon, whatever it means. It has the rare ability to switch the perspective of people and Pokémon with each other, and it is the only known Pokémon capable of learning the move Heart Swap, a move that switches every buff or debuff in stats of it with the target, to put it easy. Phione. Phione's appearance is very similar to Manaphy. It is also a blue Pokémon with a round head and a tiny body. Its head is crowned by a flotation sac with a long, ribbon-like antenna. Its eye markings are blue instead of yellow, and it doesn't have feet. I don't know if you already noticed, but Phione is bigger than Manaphy. It weighed double of its father. Okay, jokes apart, the exact relationship between the two Pokémon is unclear. Phione possesses a sac on its head which it can use to inflate and drift in the water in search of food. When the water grows warm, it will drift in packs with others of its kind. No matter how far it has drifted, it will always return to the place where it was born. Against natural predators, it uses a defense mechanism that allows its body to blend in with ocean waters, and it has the ability to lift its own spirit to heal and strengthen itself in the process. As I said, Phione and Manaphy are the only known Pokémon capable of learning the move Take Heart. Another interesting point of this Pokémon is that despite being mythical, it is not unique. I mean, Manaphy can produce many eggs, so there can be infinite Phione, but only one Manaphy. I think we should dive deeper about these two Pokémon, don't you think? It is interesting, right? The Legendary Heroes. The Legendary Heroes, also known as the Legendary Warrior, the Hero Duo, or as the Sword and Shield siblings by fans, are a duo consisting of Zacian and Zamazenta, and they reside in the Galar region. In their crowned forms, Zacian and Zamazenta are the game mascots of Pokémon Sword and Shield, respectively, on top of sharing a secondary type in Steel in the category of Warrior Pokémon. The two legendary Pokémon are believed to have been born from a place far beyond the Slumbering Weald. Some believe they are siblings, others believe that the two are rivals. To be precise, one should be a female and one a male, since they are called Sword and Shield older sister and younger brother. I guess you can imagine who is the female and who is the male, considering the type. For eons, these two hero Pokémon have lived in the Galar region, protecting it from outside threats. But while the region is safe, both reside in an ancient altar deep within the Slumbering Weald in the form of statues. 3,000 years ago, as the legendary Pokémon Eternatus awakened and caused a cataclysmic, Zacian and Zamazenta awakened as well to protect the region with the help of two young humans. In the end of the battle, the four succeeded in taking down the gigantic Pokémon, forcing it into another slumber and causing pieces of its body imbued with its power to rain down throughout Galar in the form of wishing pieces and wishing stars. After the end of the darkest day, the two youths were crowned as the region's new kings. However, as time went on, the two were forgotten by history, causing other alternate stories and myths to arise. Now, let's talk about these two warrior Pokémon one by one. Zacian. Zacian, the older sister we can say, is a fairy-type Pokemon that gains the Steel type when in its crowned form. Zacian is a large cyan lupine Pokemon with a lean frame, a pink tail, and pink braids going down the side of its body. 2 pink fringes of fur are present on its back. There are battle scars on its shoulders, hips, back, and forehead, which reveal a tan coloration under the blue fur, and half of its left ear is also missing. In the past, it was feared and respected by the people of Galar. It can also cast illusions, including a projection of itself, even while it is dormant, and last but not least, it is capable of flying. Even though it is not capable of Dynamaxing, Zacian may still go berserk when bombarded by Galar particles. Oh yeah, to you that don't know what these particles are, they are basically small pieces of Eternatus's body. Okay, maybe I just too oversimplify them. Zacian is the only known Pokemon that can have Intrepid Sword as its ability, and, as said before, it has an alternative form, the Crowned form. Zacian can change into its Crowned Sword form by wielding its Rusted Sword, during which it absorbs metal particles in the air to transform its blade into a longer, golden sword resembling its colors. In this transformation, it also gets some wing-like armor and a golden helmet. Crowned Sword is Zacian's true, full power form, capable of cutting down anything in one strike. Its skills inspired awe in both its friends and foes. Along with Zamazenta in its Crowned Shield form, it can negate the mysterious power of Eternamax Eternatus, which prevents opposing Pokemon from attacking it. Needless to say that in this form, and with that sword, this guy became a super OP samurai that can cut everything in one slash. Its signature move is Behemoth Blade, that is said to be able to split the ocean in 2. We all know that this is just a flex, right? Zamazenta. Zamazenta is the fighting type of the duo, and the younger brother, so it is the male. Oh yeah, I point this out because the gender of these 2 wolves are unknown. In its Hero of Many Battles form, the normal form, Zamazenta is a large magenta lupine Pokemon with a bulky frame and a ponytail on its head. Its tail and ponytail are a deep blue. As for its sister, there are battle scars everywhere, and half of its right ear is missing. Its head and neck have thick fur resembling a shield. Zamazenta is the only known Pokemon that can have Dauntless Shield as an ability, and have the alternative form called Crowned Shield. It can also fly, despite not having anything that reminds of wings, and can cast illusions as Zacian does. Zamazenta can change to its Crowned Shield form in battle by wielding the Rusted Shield, and absorbing metal particles in the air to form a golden shield. It can deflect any attack with the shield that serves as its main. Zamazenta uses its golden shield to fend off attacks and as a weapon. The shield has tremendous strength, capable of withstanding scratches from the sharp claws of Dragon-type Pokemon and attacks from Dynamax Pokemon. By bashing with its full might using its signature move, Behemoth Bash, it is said that Zamazenta's power can cause cracks in the land, and that the resulting shockwaves can knock out hundreds of enemies. Of course, this is another big flex in my opinion. The Paradox Duo. The Paradox Duo is a fan term for the duo consisting of Koraidon and Miraidon. They originated either from different points of time or from 2 parallel timelines of the Pokemon world. They are both Paradox Pokemon and counterparts to Cyclizar. The 2 Pokemon share the secondary type of dragon. In Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, one of the 2, depending on the game, is first met at the beginning of the game's story and will serve as the player's main ride Pokemon. While initially they cannot be used in battle, they will automatically join the player's team and can be used in battle after completing the main story. Koraidon and Miraidon, like all Paradox Pokemon, have unknown origins. Conflicting accounts claim that it either comes from the ancient past, distant future, or from different timelines. I already talked about them in another video. Go check it out! Koraidon and Miraidon were brought to Paldea's Area Zero by Professor Sada or Professor Turo in the Zero Lab, where their time machine was built. Koraidon. Koraidon is a dual-type fighting dragon legendary paradox Pokemon introduced in Generation 9. It is an ancient relative of Cyclizar and the game mascot of Pokemon Scarlet, appearing on the game's box art in its Apex build. In the Scarlet book, it is also known as the Winged King. Koraidon is a large, reptilian Pokemon, primarily covered in scarlet feathers. Its most notable feature is a tire-like gular sac on its throat, which inflates and deflates depending on its shape. Koraidon's head has a crest of feathers and a pair of long, twisted, brow plume-like tendrils. From each shoulder, a curved, handlebar-like structure extends backward. Aware of its formidable strength, Koraidon exudes confidence and rarely feels threatened. Though cautious around humans, its curiosity sometimes leads it to play with them. Its power surges under harsh sunlight due to an ancient energy coursing through its body. In battle, Koraidon will unfurl its wings and crash into its targets with explosive force. While Koraidon bears a resemblance to modern-day Cyclizar, it is known to be far more ferocious and muscular. As said before, Koraidon is present in the present day due to a time machine constructed by Professor Sada, which brought two specimens to Area Zero a decade ago. These two individuals displayed contrasting temperaments. One was friendly and curious, while the other was aggressive and territorial. 200 years prior to the events of Scarlet and Violet, Heath also encountered a Koraidon, as seen in the Scarlet book, though it is unclear how it arrived in Area Zero at the time. Koraidon has 5 different transformations it can change between as it traverses varying terrain and adapts to different situations. In its Apex build, Koraidon shifts to a bipedal stance and adopts a poised, battle-ready posture. During battle, Koraidon leverages its immense strength and array of natural weapons to overpower opponents, including powerful jaws, sharp claws, and a sturdy tail. Its legs possess extraordinary strength, allowing it to leap over 20 meters into the air and use the momentum from its falls for devastating kicks and body slams. According to Arvin, our main rival on this generation of games, this is Koraidon's true form, while its quadrupedal stance is called Limited Build. Koraidon typically takes on this form when weakened or not engaged in battle. In all travel forms, Koraidon's tail stays tucked in, displaying a pattern similar to that found on its gular sac. In its Sprinting build, Koraidon tucks its tail and runs on all fours, allowing it to reach high speeds and climb steep cliffs. In its Swimming build, the gular sac inflates, enabling Koraidon to float on water. It propels itself by paddling with its webbed feet. In my opinion, these two builds are pretty much the same build, but whatever. In its Gliding build, the tendrils on Koraidon's head unfurl into wings, allowing it to glide or even fly through the sky. Koraidon is the only known Pokémon capable of learning the move Collision Course, a very powerful fighting-type move, and has Orichalcum Pulse as signature ability. This ability allows it to create harsh sunlight and boost its attack by 33%. Miraidon. Miraidon is Electric Dragon dual type and the futuristic counterpart of Koraidon and Cyclizard. Miraidon is the game mascot of Pokémon Violet, appearing on the game's box art in its Ultimate mode. In the Violet book, it is also known as the Iron Serpent. Miraidon is a large, robotic, reptilian Pokémon with a primarily metallic violet body. The distinctive feature of it is also the gular sac on its throat, which changes appearance across its various forms. Its head features a small, dark purple casque, reminiscent of a motorcycle windshield, and circular purple cheek markings. Miraidon's shoulders are equipped with backward-curving, handlebar-like structures. A black, fender-like structure is positioned on its lower back, just above the base of its tail. Both its tail and gular sac have grooved surfaces, resembling tire treads. Despite its mechanical appearance, Miraidon displays behavior that suggests an advanced level of intelligence and perceptiveness. Its calm and enigmatic nature makes it difficult to discern its thoughts or emotions, with subtle hints only visible in his eyes. Miraidon also exhibits biological traits such as the ability to consume food, specifically Herba Mystica sandwiches, to regain strength and power after being weakened. Due to the Herba Mystica smell on them, Miraidon can track down Titan Pokémon. Miraidon can achieve high speeds and unleash powerful electrically charged attacks, utilizing the advanced engine within its body to amplify its abilities, especially when surrounded by electric terrain. In battle, Miraidon can also race at ultra-fast speeds to pierce its targets with futuristic electricity. The story of its origin is the same as Koraidon, so I am not going to repeat it again. Just change Professor Sada with Professor Turo and the Scarlet book with the Violet book. Miraidon, of course, also has 5 different transformations it can change between as it traverses varying terrain and adapts to different situations. In Ultimate mode, Miraidon's body becomes charged with purplish-yellow energy. Its gular sac inflates and glows with a bluish-white light, while its antennae flare with electricity, taking on the appearance of lightning bolts. Miraidon's back legs fold into its thighs, forming jet engine-like structures that enable it to hover and fly. Its legs also double as electrical cannons in this form. It uses electricity generated within its body to charge its claws, fangs, and tail. It is said that with one strike of its tail, it is able to knock out even the most resilient opponents. In low-power mode, Miraidon adopts a quadrupedal stance and assumes this form when weakened or not engaged in battle. In all travel forms, Miraidon's tail stays tucked in, and its back legs remain folded, exposing its jet engines for propulsion. In drive mode, energy is channeled to its tail and throat, creating wheel-like rings that enable high-speed movement and cliff climbing. In aquatic mode, the rings expand to help Miraidon float and propel itself in water, using either the rotation of the rings or its jet engines. In glide mode, its antennae extend to spread an energy membrane, allowing it to glide or fly through the air. Miraidon is the only known Pokémon capable of learning the move Electro Drift, a very powerful electric-type attack. It is also the only known Pokémon that can have Hadron Engine as an ability. an ability that creates electric terrain in battle, which is basically a buff for electric-type Pokemon, as Harsh Sunlight is for fire-type Pokemon. The Legendary Trio. Legendary Trio is a term used to describe a group of 3 closely related legendary Pokemon. They can be subdivided into 2 tiers, normal trios and special trios. This division is just for their power, let's say. The normal trio are always the first legendary Pokemon that appear in any Pokédex order. They are allowed into the many battle towers and other battle facilities, and they are recognizable with base stat totals of 580. Special trios are not allowed in the battle tower and are found closer to the end of the Pokédex in the generation of their release. This term comes from the fact that all of them are special Pokemon, which are a group of many legendaries that are restricted or banned in a battle facility. The special just means this, and not the fact that they are more unique or rarer. Actually, if we look closely at the list of special Pokemon, they're a bit more unique than the regular trios, at least in the lore of the game they're part of. This, however, is just my personal opinion, so don't take it too seriously. Legendary Birds. The legendary birds, also known as the Winged Mirages, are a legendary trio consisting of Articuno, Zapdos, and Moltres. The mythology of these birds' Pokemon originates from the Kanto and Johto regions. As the first legendary trio to be introduced, the Cantonian legendary birds set the standards for future trios. They all share similar attributes and are considered equal among themselves. Additionally, they share a secondary type, Flying, and the ability Pressure from Generation 3. From the Crown Tundra expansion of Pokemon Sword and Shield, each of the legendary birds received a Galarian form, known collectively as the Legendary Wings. These forms also share the secondary type, Flying, but they each have different abilities, and their respective primary types have changed. According to notes found in the Pokemon Mansion, the legendary birds were first discovered by and recorded by the Pokemon Research Team, which probably is formed by Blaine, Mr. Fuji, and others. Now, let's talk about them one by one. Articuno. Articuno, Frieza in Japanese. What? Really? Frieza? Okay, chill. Articuno is a dual-type ice-flying legendary Pokemon that is introduced in Generation 1. Articuno is a large bird Pokemon with predominantly sky blue plumage and wings said to be made of ice. It has a short beak and long legs. On its chest is a mass of white feathers, and its tail is longer than its body. Articuno's appearance is beautiful and very elegant. It has the power to control ice at will, and when it flaps its wings, it can chill the moisture in the air around it, making snow fall. According to legend, it appears before doomed travelers lost in icy regions. Articuno lives in cold, isolated locations, such as snowy mountains filled with permafrost. In Galar, Articuno has a different appearance. Its main body has lavender coloration, with a black marking covering its chest. The 3 feathers of its crest are longer, and have the same purple color as its beak and tail. Its eyes are small, and it looks like it is wearing a carnival mask. Galarian Articuno is Psychic type, and when it utilizes its psychic power, the entire mask glows, as do the white feathers at the edges of its wings. These feathers are sharp like blades. Galarian Articuno keeps itself airborne with its psychic power, almost never having to use its wings for this purpose. Instead, the white part of its wings can be used to slice through iron as easily as paper. It can fire beams of psychic energy from its eyes that leave its opponent stuck in place as if frozen solid, and this is what earns this Pokemon the name of its Cantonian counterpart. Articuno's elegant and refined movements belie a cold and callous personality. Don't you think that it has an evil mastermind attitude? Like someone that is ready to use you and betray you? Ah yeah, Galarian Articuno's signature move is Freezing Glare, which I already mentioned the effects above. Zapdos. Zapdos, thunder in Japanese. Yeah, you hear it right. Thunder. Zapdos is an electric-flying dual-type legendary Pokemon. It is a large bird Pokemon with predominantly yellow plumage and a long, thin beak. Its wings and tail are a mass of spiky feathers. Zapdos is said to be a divine bird that presides over the heavens, spending millennia among thunderclouds before descending with lightning bolts. When Zapdos flaps its wings, it produces massive crackling, snapping sounds and releases electricity that can potentially cause thunderstorms. It appears only during thunderstorms and gains power when struck by lightning. In Galar, Zapdos has a different appearance and type. This Zapdos is a fighting flying type, and its body is red-orange with black plumage. It has a shorter beak and a longer and visible neck. Its legs are black, longer, and more muscular. Its wings are smaller, with small black markings that appear to be remnants of its Cantonian counterpart's black plumage. To put it simply, it looks more like a super awesome ostrich than a flying bird. Galarian Zapdos is belligerent by nature, and ever thirsting for battle, it seeks out opponents stronger than itself so it could test its might. A feature that all fighting-type Pokemon have, actually. Its powerful legs allow it to perform devastating kicks capable of destroying a dump truck, and it can run across mountains at up to 300 kilometers per hour. Its signature move is Thunderous Kick, an attack that can lower its opponent's defense. Moltres, fire in Japanese. Damn, guys, the developers sure have no fantasy in choosing a name for these birds. Moltres is the fire-type legendary bird of the trio, and the last one. You know that it is the last one because it has 3 in its name. If you know Spanish, you can count them like uno, dos, tres. Okay, funny joke aside. Moltres is a large heron Pokemon with a yellow plumage. It has a long head crest and a billowing tail, both made of reddish flames. I want to point out a thing. This bird is not inspired by the phoenix, as many think. In my opinion, it is just inspired by the Japanese heron or swan with the fire element. If you want to add some myths to this bird, you should consider the legend of Suzaku, the vermilion bird of the south that comes from Chinese mythology. Let's go back to Moltres. When it flaps its wings, it sheds embers, creating a brilliant flash of flames. Its regional form in Galar, it is a dark flying type. It has a similar build, but a drastically different color scheme. It's primarily black with scarlet highlights. Its scarlet beak is hooked at the tip. Its wings, crest, and tail are mostly black. All 3 of these features exude a magenta, flame-like energy that earns it the name of its Cantonian counterpart. The sinister energy that blazes from within its body is so oppressive that most Pokemon can't even approach it. Its aura is so powerful that it consumes the spirit of its victims. Just imagine it like hockey. If you don't have a strong spirit, you can't withstand it. It is said that Galarian Moltres have a haughty personality and a calm demeanor, but it is evil for sure. Otherwise, it won't be called malevolent Pokemon. Don't you think that this regional Moltres is more inspired by a vulture? To me, it reminds me a lot of this bird from Final Fantasy X. Galarian Moltres' signature move is Fiery Wrath, a dark-type move that has a 20% chance to flinch the target. Legendary Beasts. The Legendary Beasts, or Trio of Sacred Legends, are a trio consisting of Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. They come from the Johto region, and Ho-Oh is often viewed as the leader of them, as it is the one that resurrected them in the past. In most of their appearances, they are usually seen roaming the region. They all share the ability, Pressure, and the hidden ability, Inner Focus. It is said that these 3 beasts were some unnamed Pokemon that died 150 years ago inside the Brass Tower which caught fire. On the second day, after the fire got extinguished, Ho-Oh appeared, granting the trio new life. The 3 nameless Pokemon were reborn as Raikou, Entei, and Suicune. Additionally, the Wise Trio, a group of monks, says that Suicune is the closest to Ho-Oh and shares a cooperative bond with the unknown. That means that Suicune probably is more legendary than the other 2, I guess. The 3 were to be said to represent the lightning, fire, and rain that transformed the Brass Tower into its current state. At first, the humans of Ecruteak City were in awe of this miracle. Before that awe changed into great fear of Ho-Oh's power to manipulate life. This fear leads to the townspeople threatening violence on the revived trio and Ho-Oh. Instead of retaliating back, the trio and Ho-Oh disappeared into the wilderness, awaiting a time when they could trust humans again. In Pokemon Scarlet, a sketch artist from the Area Zero expedition was inspired by the Paradox Pokemon within the Great Crater of Paldea and drew some imaginary Pokemon resembling all 3 legendary beasts. This took place 200 years prior to Pokemon Scarlet, possibly predating the burning of the Brass Tower, which was 150 years before Johto's events. So the 3 dead, unnamed Pokemon on the tower could very well have been Suicune, Entei, and Raikou, and not some common Pokemon transformed back into them. And the Paradox Pokemon can be their alternate form from the ancient past. Let me give some more info about them. Raikou. Raikou is the electric-type beast of the trio. It is a yellow, tiger-like Pokemon. It has a thin, light blue tail with a spark-shaped formation at the end. Most of its face consists of thick, white fur and shorter yellow fur around its red eyes. Raikou has 2 long fangs that make its appearance similar to the saber-toothed cat, and a mane across its back that resembles dull purple rain clouds and allows it to shoot bolts of lightning. The Paradox Pokemon, Raging Bolt, is said to be either an ancient relative of Raikou. If you want some more info, go check the Paradox Pokemon video. A proverb claims that Raikou descended from the sky with a lightning bolt, and it is able to fly by creating storm clouds. Raikou tends to appear during thunderstorms and when other electric-type Pokemon are in danger. It is said to represent the speed of lightning and can control storm clouds at will, and its cries can send shockwaves in the air while shaking the ground at the same time. Entei. Entei is the fire-type beast. It is a massive leonine Pokemon with some mastiff qualities. It is covered in brown fur and a long, light gray cloud of smoke running along its entire back. It has a black, cuff-like band on its legs and a sort of mask on its face that is red, yellow, and gray. It is said that an Entei is born whenever a new volcano appears, and that whenever Entei roars, a volcano erupts somewhere in the world. This fact, if it were true and official, would debunk the part of the legend in which the 3 dead Pokémon were common Pokémon that became the 3 beats. Anyway, Entei can unleash massive bursts of fire capable of destroying anything it touches. Its fire is said to be hotter than the magma of a volcano, but I don't think it is the hottest fire-type Pokémon out there. As I said in another video, gouging fire could be Entei's ancestor. Suicune. Suicune, the last of the 3 legendary beasts, is a water-type Pokémon, and maybe is the most famous and most liked of them. The fact that it appears on Pokémon Crystal as mascot may be related to the fact that it is more legendary than the other 2, as I mentioned before. To me, personally speaking, the developer chose it because the game is called Crystal. Suicune is water-type, but can use ice-type moves. Ice is basically crystal, so I know it doesn't make any sense, but in my head it works. By the way, why is Suicune not an ice-type? Have you ever wondered about it? Let's get back to Suicune. It is a slim, blue, jaguar-like Pokémon with some white, diamond-shaped markings. It has a thick, purple mane that resembles the Aurora Borealis and 2 white tails that wave forward like gymnastic rope. On its head, it is a big hexagon thing. That should be a horn, I guess. I don't know how to call it. Suicune has the power to walk across water and purify it with one touch. Its personality is said to be heroic, serious, and calm during dangerous situations, and is believed to be the embodiment of the north winds. Its ancient relative is Walking Wake, and let me say that it is a very, very ancient relative. That thing looks more like a dinosaur than a jaguar. Super Ancient Trio. The Super Ancient Trio is a trio of ancient legendary Pokémon from the Hoenn region: Kyogre, Groudon, and Rayquaza. This trio has also been unofficially called the Weather Trio by fans, and actually Kyogre and Groudon can be considered as a duo, an opposite or rival one. Rayquaza is later introduced as a leader of the 2, so to speak. In the 6th generation game, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, these 3 badass gain the Mega Evolution transformation. For Groudon and Kyogre, it is called Primal Reversion, but it is the same thing. The 3 Pokémon represent separate elemental spheres: Kyogre, the Hydrosphere, water, to put it simply; Groudon, the Lithosphere, or the Earth; and Rayquaza, the Atmosphere, the sky. The 3 Pokémon could be references to creatures from Hebrew myth: the sea monster Leviathan, the Behemoth, and Ziz, a giant bird. I guess that the last one is not correct at all, and I am pretty sure that Rayquaza is inspired by one of the 4 divine beasts, Siryu, to be precise. I know, you might say that Siryu means azure dragon and Rayquaza is green, but let me tell you this. The kanji of sei in Siryu come from Chinese, and it doesn't truly mean blue or azure. It can mean green as well. It is a bit difficult to explain, but that kanji refers to a color shade between light green, aquamarine, and light blue, simply speaking. Kyogre. Kyogre is the water type of the trio. It is the game mascot of Pokémon Sapphire and its remake, Alpha Sapphire. Kyogre is a massive, whale-like Pokémon with 2 big pectoral fins, each with 4 white, square-shaped nails. I think it is more inspired by an orca, but this is just my opinion. It has a deep blue body and some red stripes around its chin, eyes, dorsal fins, and torso. These stripes, which look like tattoos, glow when Kyogre is brimming with power. Kyogre is believed to be the personification of the sea itself, and is described in legends and myths as the maker of oceans, who created the world's oceans. It is also capable of summoning intense rainstorms to cloak the world's entire sky. It was hailed as a savior for quenching areas of the world plagued with droughts. As a super ancient Pokémon, it is one of the longest-lived ones, thought to have lived for thousands of years. Its signature move is Origin Pulse. As said before, Kyogre can undergo Mega Evolution or Primal Reversion in its case. It retains its general body structure, but becomes double its size and has a dark blue color. The red markings along its body become light blue. The markings on its pectoral fins slightly change to form the alpha symbol. Needless to say that this primal form is Kyogre's original form, and the energy that fills it spills forth as seawater, which its body composition is nearly identical to. Just like Phione and Manaphy! Primal Kyogre's signature ability, Primordial Sea, allows it to summon heavy rain during battle. Oh, I almost forgot! This dude, for some reason, can fly when there is no water for it to swim in. Groudon. Groudon is the second and the ground type of the trio. It is the game mascot of Pokémon Ruby version and its remake. Groudon is a massive, salamander, dinosaur-like Pokémon covered in red, segmented plates of thick, armor-like skin. It has 4 claws on each hand and 4 dozer-like blades on the end of its large tail. Groudon is believed to be the personification of the land and is described in legends and myths as a maker of lands who created the world's continents and expanded the land masses by generating magma formations. It is also capable of summoning intense sunlight that can dispel rain clouds and evaporate water. Because of this power, it was hailed as a savior for stopping terrible floods. Its signature move is Precipice Blades. Groudon can undergo primal reversion and become Primal Groudon by holding the red orb. Its appearance remains mostly the same, but it becomes larger and its skin color changes from dark red to deep crimson. The Omega symbol can be seen on its arms and legs, while the enlarged openings between its plating armor glow bright like lava. In this form, Groudon gains the Fire type as well, and this should be its true form. It has Desolate Land as its signature ability. I guess I don't have to explain what it does, right? Groudon can also walk on water by using magma to form a path beneath its feet. Rayquaza. Rayquaza, the last of the three and the most powerful, is a dragon flying type Pokemon and the game mascot of the Emerald version. Its primary role is to end the raging battle between Kyogre and Groudon, but it also has an important part in the Delta episode. In Pokemon Legends ZA's Mega Dimension DLC, Rayquaza should have an important role as well, but I am not going to talk about that. Rayquaza is a large, green, serpentine dragon Pokemon that has some missile features. To me, the first time I saw it, I thought it was a flying animated bamboo. Rayquaza is said to be an equal to both Groudon and Kyogre, but I think we should consider it stronger than the two, since it is able to stop them fighting. For this, it was worshipped by the Draconid people, who refer to it as Dragon Lord, the savior of the Hoenn region. Rayquaza has resided in the ozone layer for millions of years, where it feeds on water, meteoroids, and other particles. It is rarely seen by people, even in flight. Its signature move is Dragon Ascent, a powerful flying type attack that lowers its defense and special defense. Quite a big downside, isn't it? Its signature ability is Airlock, and is basically the ability that counters the weather ability of the other two. Rayquaza can Mega Evolve into Mega Rayquaza after it learns Dragon Ascent. In this form, its body becomes longer and gains more features. Its head becomes longer with the Delta symbol appearing on its forehead. It also gained two tusks, so to speak, on the side of its mouth that forms a Delta symbol again. It basically gets longer, with a meaner look and shiny filaments coming out of its horns. According to the Draconid people, Rayquaza was the first Pokemon to ever Mega Evolve, and in its honor, they built the Sky Pillar, where they guarded the Rainbow Stone that granted Rayquaza the power to do it. As I already said in another video, we are actually not sure if Rayquaza is truly the first Pokemon that Mega Evolves, but since it is so ancient, this might be true. As said, Mega Rayquaza has enough power to repel the primal forms of Groudon and Kyogre by sapping up their power with a blazing light and whipping wind, and is also capable of destroying meteors. Rayquaza has been referred to as the Delta, and as many of you may know, the Delta symbol normally refers to a variable. In this case, it might be intended that Rayquaza is the one that can decide the result about the conflict of Kyogre and Groudon, the representations of the Alpha and the Omega. Mega Rayquaza has Delta Stream as its signature ability, the Lake Guardians. The Lake Guardians are a trio of legendary Pokemon consisting of Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf. They are a group of Pokemon that reside in the Sinnoh region and were discovered in the ancient past when the region was still known as Hisui. This trio are creations of Arceus. They represent knowledge, emotion, and willpower respectively, and are created in balance against Dialga and Palkia. According to Junichi Masuda, one of the directors of Game Freak, the Lake Guardians represent spirit or something immaterial, while Dialga and Palkia represent substance, the material. All three are psychic type, have the ability Levitate, and starting in Pokemon Legends Arceus, they share a signature move called Mystical Power. This move doesn't deal heavy damage, but can buff the offensive or the defensive stats of the user, depending on the conditions. As just said, the Lake Guardians represent knowledge, emotion, and willpower. They are likely based on the three sacred treasures of Japan, the Yata no Kagami, Wisdom, Yasakani no Magatama, Benevolence, and Kusanagi no Tsurugi, Valor. If you have never heard about these items, just know that they are an important artifact in Japanese folklore and often appear or cited in Japanese media like video games or anime. It is said that the three little Pokemon may draw inspiration from cherubim, seraphim, and thrones, the three highest-ranking angel classes in Christianity, but I think that this is not correct. Parts of their names come from fantasy creatures, pixies, sprites, and elves. The other parts of their names come from either the acronym UMA, Unidentified Mysterious Animal, or personal pronouns, you, Uxie, me, Mesprit, and us, Azelf. According to legend, when Arceus created the universe, it created Uxie, Mesprit, and Azelf, and gave them the ability to calm and control Dialga and Palkia whenever they were enraged. As mentioned in their respective Pokédex entries, the Lake Guardians taught humans the ability to feel emotions, knowledge, and willpower. You can find these three Pokemon in three lakes in Sinnoh: Lake Acuity, Lake Verity, and Lake Valor. Fun fact. According to Azelf's Pokedex entries, all three of them were born from the same egg, Uxie. Uxie is known to represent knowledge and called the god of knowledge. It is a small, gray, fairy-like Pokemon with two gray tails that have a red gem. Uxie has a partially yellow face with another red gem encrusted into his forehead. Its head faintly resembles that of a helmet. Uxie always has its eyes closed, as it can wipe out the memory of those who see them. Its spirit can leave its body without dying and return at will. Notably, when Uxie first emerged, humans gained the knowledge needed to solve problems and improve their quality of life. Uxie lives in Lake Acuity, specifically in the Acuity Cavern at the center of the lake. Mesprit. Mesprit, Emrit in Japanese, is the being of emotion. It is also small and gray, like Uxie, but its face is pink and has 4 long bunny ears. Legends say that a person who touches it will have their emotions completely drained away. It is said to have taught humans the ability to feel sorrow, pain, and joy, leading it to be referred to as the god of emotion in the past, as I said before. Mesprit lives in Lake Verity, specifically in the Verity Cavern. Azelf. Azelf, or Agnome in Japanese, is the god of willpower, the Pokemon that represent it. Its appearance is very similar to the other two. The difference is on its face, of course. It has light blue color and its head is triangular and not round. Azelf sleeps at the bottom of a lake to preserve the balance of the world. It was the one that gives humans the determination to face challenges in life. Befittingly, it can control an individual's will or enter their body. Legends say that if Azelf is harmed, it can cause humans to lose all will inside of them, making them completely immobile for all eternity. Azelf lives in the Valor Cavern that is inside the third lake, the Lake Valor. The Pokemon Myth Trio. This trio is referred to Dialga, Palkia, and Giratina, the legendary Pokemon noted in the mythology of the Sinnoh region. They are commonly called the Mythical Trio, but I don't like this term because it can cause confusion with the Mythical Pokemon category. Note that these three are not mythical Pokemon, but legendaries. They are called mythical because they are the Pokemon of myth that is told in the Sinnoh region. Arceus is also referred to as the Pokemon of the myth, but it can't stay in this group because it is even more mythical than these three. This trio can also be called the Creation Trio, Deity Trio, and Dragon Trio since they all share the Dragon type. The three Pokemon represent time, Dialga, space, Palkia, and antimatter, Giratina. According to legends, Arceus was the one that created the trio, along with the entire universe, and their first appearance is in the ancient time of Sinnoh. It is also said that they come from another dimension, but I think this is not true. I mean, these three should have existed before the creation of the other dimension, right? What I want to say is that, without the power of the trio, there can't be other dimensions. Of course, this is just my thinking, correct me if I am wrong. Dialga and Palkia can be considered as a duo as well, and as said before, are kept in balance by the late Guardians. It is implied that they cannot do the same with Giratina. So this means that Giratina should be a bit more powerful, like Rayquaza for Kyogre and Groudon to make an example. All three members have two distinct forms. Their primary form, or altered form, in the case of Giratina. This is a form the trio assumes when outside their home dimension, and is the form that humans are most familiar with. The origin form, on the other hand, is considered to be their true, full power form, which they transform into through the use of a special item, or, in the case of Giratina again, being in the distortion world. Despite sharing the Dragon type as the second type, they all have a base stat total of 680, divided among the stats in different ways. All three share the standard ability Pressure and the hidden ability Telepathy. However, Origin form Giratina exclusively has Levitate, just because it is more badass than the other two. According to the legends of Hisui, or Sinnoh, the three Pokemon were simultaneously created by Arceus when the universe began at Mount Coronet. Dialga and Palkia were given control over an element of reality, time and space respectively, while Giratina was given the control over antimatter. At some point, due to its evil nature, Giratina was banished to the distortion world, a dimension where time doesn't flow and space is unstable. Arceus later created the Late Guardians with the power to control and calm the duo of reality, as I already mentioned before. In the region of Sinnoh, these two Pokemon are worshipped as gods, as well as for Arceus in the ancient past. Giratina, instead, appears in the core game series as an evil divine Pokemon that is searching vengeance against Arceus. Alongside a human named Volo, it opened a giant space-time rift atop Mount Coronet. This, of course, triggered many chaotic events and turned Dialga and Palkia to go berserk, so to speak, all to force Arceus to come out. Okay, I stop here. I don't want to bore you with the entire lore of this generation game, So let's move on and have some more info about this legendary trio. Dialga. Dialga, the keeper of time, so to speak, is a steel dragon-type Pokemon. It is a dark blue, sauropod-like Pokemon with some gray metallic portions and light blue stripes. It has a chest plate on its torso, which has a deep blue diamond-like crystal embedded in the center. It sure doesn't look like a dragon to me, and I don't know how to go further. At first sight, it reminds me more of a water-ice-type Pokemon. After the Pokemon universe was created, Dialga retreated into its own dimension. It is capable of speaking human language via telepathy and the power to control time, speeding it up, slowing it down, reversing it, or stopping it altogether. Of course, it can also travel in the past or future as it likes. Its power is so immense that it can destroy and create an entire universe, and of course, it can manipulate the time of its enemy as well. It is said that time started moving when Dialga was born, and will continue flowing as long as its heart beats. Its signature move, Roar of Time, is a very powerful dragon-type hyper beam that can deal a lot of damage. Said to be its true appearance, Dialga has an alternative form called Origin Form. In this form, it becomes so damn ugly. Look at it! What is that? It basically becomes a rock. I mean, a steel giant with a Power Ranger helmet and a giant crystal in its chest. How can you consider it as a dragon? By the way, appearance aside, this form is its true and full power form. Needless to say that its time manipulation power is buffed, and for some reason, it can unleash meteors. Dialga also has another form called Primal Dialga. It is basically its normal form with orange lines and an orange crystal. I guess it is just a berserk version of it, since in this form its time power is nerfed. Palkia. Palkia is the space manipulator, and it is very difficult to guess from its appearance. It is a water dragon-type Pokemon. There is no hint for you to say that this Pokemon is a water type. To me, a psychic type suits it better, don't you think? Anyway, Palkia is a light purple, theropod-like Pokemon with stripes and markings. It has round, purple-striped plates on its shoulder area, where two pink, pearl-like crystals lie encrusted, and fin-like wings on its back. Palkia has a long neck that is normally bent, and a long, powerful tail. As said, Palkia has power over space. It can warp it and travel to faraway places, as well as alternate dimensions and parallel timelines. Additionally, it is capable of rendering its targets along with the space around it. To put it simply, it can manipulate the position of a target, moving it where it likes. Palkia can also open and close dimensional portals to alternate universes, and it is said that the birth of Palkia was what caused the walls of the world to disappear, creating a sky that spans for infinity, and that space becomes more stable with every breath it makes. Its signature move is Special Rend. In its origin form, Palkia's appearance changes drastically from its theropod-like form to a centaur-like form that resembles more its creator, Arceus. The coloration is still the same, and the most evident change is the loss of its arms, while its shoulder plates are larger now. Its legs are now 4 and more similar to that of a horse. It also seems to wear some sort of helmet. As for Dialga, in this origin form, the space manipulation power of Palkia is buffed, and it also can unleash meteors. I guess unleashing meteors is bread and butter. Giratina. Giratina, the evil and the badass of the trio, is a ghost dragon-type Pokemon. It is the game mascot of Pokemon Platinum and is a large gray draconic Pokemon with 2 large black ghostly wings and 6 legs that are very thick. It has a tail, but it is not long, and its wings can change shape as they are made of shadow. I don't know why it has those spikes under its wings. Are those bullets? As I already explained it before. After the Pokemon universe was created, due to Giratina's violent nature, Arceus banished it to the Distortion World, a world that lies in the reverse side of the Pokemon world. Since then, it carried a strong grudge against its creator and was willing to stand against it. Giratina is highly aggressive and territorial. It has been reported to appear in ancient graveyards. It has the power to tear holes in reality, sometimes even creating a space-time rift, being so big and powerful that it can even throw both Dialga and Palkia into a frenzy. Its signature move is Shadow Force, that works like fly. Palkia and Dialga's origin form resemble Arceus, while Giratina's one takes on a serpentine look. Its legs are reduced to golden-tipped spikes, and 4 additional golden spikes appear near the edge of its tail. The back points of each half ring have a black, ghostly tendril with a red spike at its tip. Fun fact, in its origin form, Giratina is bigger, but surprisingly lighter. I guess those legs were heavy. The Tau Trio. The Tau Trio is a fan term for a trio consisting of Reshiram, Zekrom, and Kyurem, the legendary dragons from the Unova region. Much like members of other legendary trios, the 3 Pokemon have similar appearances. Each has dragon as their primary type. Both Reshiram and Zekrom have a base stat total of 680, while Kyurem's is 660 in its standard form. However, it has base stat total of 700 in its transformed form. These 3 are called Tau Trio because they represent the Yin, Zekrom, the Yang, Reshiram, and Wuji, Kyurem. Now, as I already said in another video, It is okay if we consider the duo Reshiram and Zekrom for the Tau dualism. Things get weird if we also consider Kirin as its part. The Wuji concept is part of Taoism too, but it doesn't mean nothing in this case. Kirin should be the union of the two dragons, but it is actually not. I think this is a big mistake of the developers. Also, the type of the three isn't right for the Tau symbolism. One should be representing the dark and the other the light. They choose to use the classic trio type for legendaries: fire, lightning, and ice, and it doesn't make any sense. Calling them the Tau trio is not appropriate if we consider the Pokémon, but it suits quite well if we take in consideration the name of this generation games: Pokémon White and Pokémon Black. I am not going to dive into the origin of these three Pokémon since, in my opinion, the lore about these three is very poorly told and a lot of things don't match. The only part I consider canon and suitable for the lore is the fact that Kyurem comes from outside the world, an extraterrestrial being that falls into the Unova region and later splits its soul in three: Reshiram, Zekrom, and a nerfed version of itself. Now let me cover these three one by one quickly. I actually don't like this trio that much. Reshiram. Reshiram is the light part of the Tau duo. It is a fire, dragon-type Pokémon with a beautiful appearance. It is a white and has avian and draconic traits. Its head is small and its neck is thin. Its arms are fused with its wings and have some claws on the leading edge. Reshiram's tail is a mass of plume surrounded by two large bands that give it the look of a big turbine engine. And it works like that actually. Its signature move is Blue Flare, while it shares the move Fusion Flare and the ability Turbo Blaze with White Kyurem. Zekrom. Zekrom is the dark part of the Tau dualism. It is a lightning dragon-type Pokémon and has a more badass appearance. Zekrom is mainly black. It resembles a humanoid winged dragon. Its tail consists of a large, round, conical, and spiked formation. It resembles a Slowking shell if you want a comparison. It works just like that of Reshiram, a booster of its power. Zekrom's signature move is Bolt Strike, while the move and the ability it shares with Black Kyurem is Fusion Bolt and Terravolt. Kyurem. Kyurem is the ice type of the three. It should be the main body of the single dragon that falls from the sky. Kyurem is mainly gray. It resembles a winged T-Rex with draconic features. Its wings are not normal, and it seems to be made of rock or ice, while its tail is long and, like the other two, it looks like a turbine engine. Kyurem emits extremely cold air and generates powerful, freezing energy inside itself that froze its own body. Its latent power exceeds even that of Reshiram and Zekrom, but it is kept at bay by the extreme cold. Kyurem's signature move is Glaciate. Its hybrid form, the fusion with Reshiram or Zekrom, are very awesome. In each of this form, its arms are longer, and it takes an appearance more similar to the one of the Tau duo. I personally prefer the black one. It looks more badass despite having those appendages attached on its back. The Aura Trio. The Aura Trio, called Kalosmiths in Japanese, is a Fafan term for a group composed by Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. Xerneas and Yveltal are representative of the circle of life and death. Xerneas is the life-bringer that gives life energy to everyone and everything, while Yveltal has the job of the god of death that ends the life of every living being. Zygarde's role is that of an adjudicator. Honestly speaking, its role is still not very clear to me. It should be, basically, like Rayquaza's, but when it should intervene is not clear. I mean, what does it mean that when the natural order is disrupted? When life is spamming too much, or when too much life is dying? Okay, let's not dive further or I will confuse you even more. The important thing to know about Zygarde is that its complete form is way more powerful than both Xerneas and Yveltal. The reason why this trio is called Aura Trio is due to their signature ability. Xerneas has the ability called Fairy Aura that boosts all fairy-type moves. Yveltal, instead, has the ability Dark Aura, which does the same for all the dark-type moves. Zygarde's ability, Aura Break, is a very interesting one because it reverses all aura ability effects. Stylistically, this trio represents the Latin letters of X, Y, and Z. Do you think that they have something to do with the Cartesian axis or with the three dimensions? I guess I'm overthinking again, so let's leave it there. Now, we know that two of this trio have power over life, and the third have control over the other two. Now let me give you some more info about these three, especially on Zygarde, and try to understand its role better. Xerneas. Xerneas is a fairy-type stag-like Pokémon with 4 pairs of antlers. Its coloration varies slightly depending on whether it is in active mode or neutral mode. Regardless of fashion, its main body is always black with a blue stripe down its back and a short, bushy tail. Its eyes are black with X-shaped pupils. In active mode, its antlers start to glow in rainbow color, and this happens when it is using its power. In neutral mode, instead, it just turns out the lights on its antlers. In the Pokémon X game, the power of Xerneas, the life energy that it can manipulate, can also be used to activate some machine, like Ultimate Weapon, and buff some Pokemon triggering their Mega Evolutions. Xerneas's signature move is Geomancy, a charged move that boosts special attack, special defense, and speed by 2 stages. Yveltal. Yveltal, the god of death, we can say, is a dark-flying dual-type Pokemon with both avian and draconic traits. Its body is mainly red in the front and black on the back. It has a small bird head with 2 horns. Its wings and tail are long and big, with the appearance of 3 massive hands. In Pokemon Y, the life energy manipulation story is the same as I told for Xerneas, but in reverse. Its signature move is Oblivion Wing, a flying-type move that can steal HP. Zygarde. Zygarde is a dragon-ground, dual-type legendary Pokemon with 3 main forms: 10% form, 50% form, and complete form. Zygarde plays a central role in Pokemon Legends ZA, serving as a key figure in its storyline. It is a green and black Pokemon composed of smaller units of cells who collectively define its appearance and power by assembling in different percentages. In all of Zygarde's forms, the various cells are represented as green and black hexagons that glow when it attacks. Zygarde is the guardian of the Pokemon world's ecosystem that ensures the equilibrium of the cycle of life and death. Normally, Zygarde avoids getting involved in conflicts unless the ecosystem is in grave danger. Zygarde has more than one signature move. They are Land's Wrath, Thousand Arrows, Thousand Waves, and Core Enforcer. All powerful and useful in my opinion. From Generation 7, it also gets the ability Power Construct. As you already noticed, this Pokemon has already too much form, and I haven't even mentioned the Mega Evolution yet. Zygarde's body is made of Zygarde cores and Zygarde cells. They are basically identical and look like small green jellies or blobs. Just take the pulp of a Kiwano fruit and you will have an idea. Have you ever eaten that before? I had one of those a month ago and it felt quite weird. Anecdote aside, where were we? Oh yeah, these gelish cells of Zygarde don't have the power to battle, and they need to assemble in order to become stronger and do something. The cells cannot act on their own and have to be commanded by a core, which acts as a brain. After a core has gathered enough cells to reach a 10% of its final form, Zygarde appears as a small hound Pokemon with a green scarf around its neck. Its body is primarily black, though its neck, muzzle, mouth, eyebrows, and left front paw are green. This form is skilled at close-range combat and is capable of running at speeds greater than 100 kilometers per hour. However, it cannot maintain this form indefinitely, and it will eventually fall apart. The 50% form is the first introduced, and it looks like a large black and green Cobra Pokemon with some black flat ornament on its back. Despite only using half of its full potential, its power is capable of overwhelming anyone who stands in its way. This form is known to be both ruthless and merciless. We finally get to the complete form. In this form, Zygarde is a large humanoid Pokemon that actually looks more like a Gundam or an orbital frame. You can't call it Pokemon at first sight. Come on, it suits the Digimon franchise better in my opinion. In this form, made of 100% of its cells and cores, Zygarde can fight at full power and have separate cores for each of its wings and its tail. These cores can act independently of the others and can freely change the shapes of the wings and tail to better manage its opponent. In this form, this pseudo-digital Pokemon can also Mega Evolve. Its Mega Evolution is ridiculous. It doesn't look like a mobile suit, but more like an arcane mage that is levitating and holding a huge cannon above its head. Look at it. Can you tell that this is a Pokemon? The design is quite cool, I admit that, but hey, this is not a Pokemon at all. This is more like a super mega digi-evolution of the some sort of antibody unknown Digimon. I personally don't like Zygarde. What about you? I almost forgot its signature move, Nihil Light, that is basically a Core Enforcer 2.0. The Light Trio. The Light Trio is a fan term that groups up the 3 legendary Pokemon from the 7th generation, Pokemon Sun and Moon, and the sequel, of course. All 3 of them come from and live in the Ultra Space, only traveling to the Pokemon world from time to time. The first 2, Solgaleo and Lunala, are also worshipped in the Alola region. They are related to the Ultra Beasts, even being mistaken for them in some scenarios. However, they are not classified as such. All 3 of them are Psychic type and have their own unique Z move. As the first 2 are considered, one the emissary of the Sun and the other the emissary of the Moon. Necrozma, the 3rd member of the trio, acts like a villain and actively seeks out the other 2 to steal the light they possess, allowing it to regain its true form, Ultra Necrozma. Let's see them one by one. Solgaleo. Solgaleo, the emissary of the Sun, is a Psychic Steel Pokemon that evolves from Cosmoem when leveled up at level 53. Being Cosmog's final form in Pokemon Sun and Ultra Sun, Solgaleo is a large, white Pokemon resembling a lion. The top half of its face is a deep blue area that shows a constantly changing starscape. It is the only trait that reminds of its pre-evolution forms. Its mane is large and beautiful and creates the impression of a stylized sun. There is a black part on its tail and its feet that look like rubber or tires to me. As a whole, it is a cool Pokémon, even though it is not recognizable as a Steel-type Pokémon. Solgaleo can create Ultra wormholes to travel to and from Ultra space and can slam into its target with the force of a meteor. Alongside its counterpart Lunala, it can create Cosmog, which it is said to be the male evolution of, even though its gender is unknown. It is said that Solgaleo, similar to Lunala, is a being composed of light, and due to that, it is constantly hunted down by Necrozma. Okay, this confuses me a little bit. It is a Steel-type Pokémon, but it is made of light. What? Solgaleo has the signature move, Sunsteel Strike, the signature Z move, Searing Sunrays Smash, and Full Metal Body as its unique ability. Lunala. Lunala, called Emissary of the Moon, is a psychic ghost-type Pokémon that evolves from Cosmoem at level 53 in Pokémon Moon and Ultra Moon. It is a large Pokémon resembling a skeletal, legless bat. Its head is small and doesn't have the look of that of a bat, while its torso resembles a ribcage with a slightly curved spike on each shoulder and 3 spikes extending from the bottom toward its tail. Its massive wings resemble bats' wings, with the skeleton exposed. A hint to remind you that this is a ghost Pokémon. The skin of its wings is an iridescent deep blue and gives the impression of deep space with that light source that appears from behind its ribcage. Lunala, as said for Solgaleo, is a being composed of light, and due to this, Necrozma hunts it in Pokémon Moon and Ultra Moon. Lunala's signature move is Moongeist Beam, the signature Z move is Menacing Moonrays Maelstrom, and its unique ability is Shadow Shield. Necrozma, the bad guy of the three, is only a psychic type. It can fuse with Solgaleo or Lunala if it defeats them, and uses the In-Solarizer, or Lunarizer. After it is fused with one of the two, it gains the second type of its host, and it appears like an armor that covers the body of the host and takes control over it, basically acting like an ultra-dimensional parasite. After it takes the power of Solgaleo or Lunala, Necrozma can transform into its Ultra Beast form, Ultra Necrozma, becoming a dual-type Psychic Dragon Pokémon, which I will cover later. Necrozma is like a construct made of black crystal. Its body is primarily prismatic and black due to the amount of impurities in its system. The large protrusion attached to its head is its tail. It is quite ugly if you consider it as a Pokémon. It sure has an evil look, and it is more similar to a cyber monster than a Pokémon. Necrozma comes from Ultra space and is capable of opening and traveling through Ultra wormholes. It is referred to as a reminiscent of the Ultra Beasts, or something almost like an Ultra Beast. It once had the ability to give light in its original form, but lost this ability along its true form after being heavily injured by the Ultra Recon Squad's ancestors. Just consider this group as an ultra-dimensional version of a Team Rocket. I might cover them in another video, so let's move on. Necrozma displays extremely violent behavior due to the constant, maddening pain it suffers in its incomplete state. Desperate for the light it requires to sustain itself and regain its original form, Necrozma absorbs light from other beings and places. This behavior caused it to be feared as and known as a pillager of light in ancient times. Necrozma's signature moves are Prismatic Laser and Photon Geyser, and have Prism Armor as its unique ability. When Necrozma absorbs overwhelming amounts of light energy and Z-power, it undergoes Ultra Burst, which causes it to split apart and then reform into its true form, Ultra Necrozma. It can achieve this by taking control of Solgaleo or Lunala, as said before, while holding an Ultra Necrozium Z. Ultra Necrozma is a colossal dragon Pokémon, composed mostly of pure light energy. This body of light is supported by a sort of skeleton made from the various pieces of Necrozma's crystalline body. Its face is now more draconic and has 2 pairs of wings, one around its shoulders and one around its hips, all made of light. Oh, it also has a pretty nice tail now. Necrozma is at its full power in this form, having its body temperature exceed 5,000 degrees. Anything that it touches will melt from the extreme heat. It is now called the Blinding One, and has light that burns the sky as its signature Z move, the Loyal 3. The Loyal 3, known in Japan as Tomoko-sama, is a trio of legendary Pokémon consisting of Okidogi, Munkidori, and Fezandipiti. It is said that they come from an unknown land, but currently reside in the land of Kitakami. Pecharunt is later revealed to be their leader and the one that led them to Kitakami. I am not going to talk about it here, so let's move on. The 3 members are all male, and they share Poison as a primary type, the category Retainer Pokémon, and the ability Toxic Chain. The lore of these 3 Pokémon are quite interesting and fun. They all were once below-average Pokémon, in terms of skill, so to speak. Okidogi was small and weak, Munkidori was clumsy and dim-witted, and Fezandipiti had short, dull feathers. One day, Pecharunt met them and, needing retainers to help it grant its caretaker's wishes, used its binding mochi and toxic chains to tame and transform them, granting them the strength, wisdom, and beauty that they respectively wished for. However, they also became chained to Pecharunt's will as a result, joining it in its quest to retrieve a brilliant set of masks in the land of Kitakami. The trio got there and found the mask's owner. They found the mask's owner and found a way to plunder the man. They succeeded in the stealing, but one of the masks was missing. This man had a Pokemon that looked like an ogre, Orgerpon, and when it got back and found out that its partner got beaten up, it put on the last mask and went out seeking revenge. It found the trio and Pecharunt in the nearby village and attacked them. The three got killed while Pecharunt fainted out. The fun fact, however, is that the villagers, already afraid of the ogre due to its appearance, believed that the trio were actually defending them. So they named the trio the Loyal Three and put their bodies to rest near the village, and a monument dedicated to honor their sacrifice was erected. So these three actually are not good guys and loyal. Okay, they can be considered loyal since they are chained to Pecharunt, but they are actually the villains. Let's see these three meme Pokemon one by one. Okidogi. Okidogi, Ianenu in Japanese, is a poison-fighting type Pokemon. It is a bulky dog with broad shoulders, pointy ears, and a large, fluffy tail. Its fur is almost entirely black, with some green areas and a purple chain around its neck, the chain of Pecharunt, of course. According to locals, after its death and becoming a hero, worshipping Okidogi will grant kindness and help ensure things are okidoki between both sides. It has a greedy and arrogant personality, but a great relationship with his teammates. By consuming the Kitakami mochis, Okidogi can become a titanic Pokemon growing in size. Munkidori. Munkidori, Mashimashira in Japanese, is a poison psychic type Pokemon. It is a blue monkey Pokemon with two very short legs. It has long black fur covering most of its body. Its chain is on her head dressed like a headband. Kitakami's locals said, worshipping Munkidori ensures one is successful in life, and that everything will be hunky-dory. Munkidori is manipulative, and under the Pecharunt chain effect, it got its psychic powers enhanced so that it could even see into the near future and induce intense dizziness. Fezandipiti. Fezandipiti, Kichikigisu in Japanese, is of poison fairy type. Fezandipiti is a bird Pokemon with a small head, a long neck, and long legs. Its plumage is primarily black, with white on its head and neck, and bronze accents on its face, collar, and wingtips. Fezandipiti is worshipped by the Kitakami locals to have good fortune. It has an arrogant personality and gets along well only with his teammates. Fezandipiti has the toxic chain wrapped around its waist, enhancing its capabilities and giving it a stunning appearance and a lovely voice. It possesses powerful pheromones, capable of captivating both humans and Pokemon. The Swords of Justice. The Sword of Justice, or Sacred Swordsman in the Japanese version, is a group of legendary Pokemon consisting of Cobalion, Terrakion, Virizion, and Keldeo. They are all from the Unova region, and, interesting to note that, Keldeo is not legendary, but mythical. They all have the fighting type and the ability Justified. This ability is quite interesting since it buffs the Pokemon attack when it is hit by a dark-type move. A number of their moves refer to combat and swordplay, such as Swords Dance and Sacred Sword. The Swords of Justice are often referred to by fans as the Legendary Musketeers, as they are loosely based on the Three Musketeers novel. With Keldeo, that may represent D'Artagnan, the latest and by far youngest addition to the group. This group has challenged humans according to the legend in order to protect other Pokemon from losing their homes to human expansion. According to that legend, the Three Swords of Justice distrust humans because of a war that endangered the Pokemon living in Unova. They fought back the armies, overwhelming them with their combined might, and legends of them continue to be told today. And it has been said that if human conflict ever again threatened the safety of Pokemon, they would return to that fighting and preserve a climate of peace. Let me give you some more info about them one by one. Cobalion. Cobalion is a steel-fighting type legendary Pokemon introduced in Generation 5, with Pokemon Black and White. It doesn't have any evolution, and the Paradox Pokemon, Iron Crown, shares many features with it. Cobalion is considered the group's leader. It is basically a goat with blue fur with a white tuft under its neck that resembles a tie. Its legs are half blue and half gray. The gray part makes it look like it is wearing some boots, and it is said that its body is all made of steel. Cobalion has a very charismatic personality. It has great leadership skills, and it is always calm and analytical. In Generation 5, Sacred Sword was its signature move. Terrakion. Terrakion is the rock-fighting type of the group. The Paradox Pokemon, Iron Boulder, shares similarities with it. Terrakion looks like a bull. It has two axe-like horns that curve forward, and there are several short spikes on its head. It has two orange protrusions on its shoulders, and its tail is short and stubby. It is said that Terrakion possesses phenomenal strength and can destroy a castle wall with a single blow. Should a small Pokemon be bullied by anyone or anything, Terrakion will crush them without mercy. It is basically the stereotype of a big and good guy. Do you know about Fudo of the Mountain? That big boy from Hokuto no Ken? It is a nice comparison, but I guess many of you might be too young to know it. Virizion. Virizion, the grass type of the team, shares appearance with the paradox Pokemon Iron Leaves. Virizion is an antelope-like Pokemon that is primarily green. On the sides of its head are horns that end in dull, curled points. On its back, there are pointed tufts of fur forming a medium-long tail. Its lower legs resemble knee-high boots with pink highlights at the knees, and it has black hooves. Virizion's peculiarity should be its agility. It attacks its opponents by first darting around them with whirlwind-like speed before using its sharp, sword-like horns to swiftly cut them down. Keldeo. Keldeo, the youngest member of the group, is a water fighting type. Keldeo is, basically, a pony or colt-like Pokemon with a cream-colored body. It has a large, feathery red mane, dark blue, ridged, eyebrow-like protrusions that make it look like having a musketeer's hat. Its horn is short and curved, and it looks very fake to me. Is that the same for you? Keldeo has blue hooves, which are capable of ejecting water. Damn, the first time I saw it, I almost puked out. I mean, what the heck? Seriously? Hydro pump from hooves? By the way, let's get back to the lore about this pony. Keldeo has the role of the adopted child and the young apprentice of the trio that eventually grows up and surpasses its mentors. Its signature move is Secret Sword, that should be more powerful than Sacred Sword if we consider the name. It is actually not, at least in my opinion. It is said that Keldeo has two forms, but I think calling that an alternative form is not correct. It is just a buff that changes the form of its horn, and I don't have to describe what it looks like to you, I think. The Forces of Nature. The Forces of Nature, also known as the Incarnate Forces of Hisui, is a quartet of legendary Pokemon consisting of Tornadus, Thundurus, Landorus, and Enamorus. They are also known by fans as the Kami Quartet, Cloud Quartet, Legendary Genies, or Four Symbols. I guess this last nickname is due to their alternative form that reminds me of the four beasts, Suzaku, Byakko, Seiryu, and Genbu. I will cover those forms later, so let's continue. These four are known to roam around the seas of the Pokemon world and stay in different regions from time to time, such as Unova, Hoenn, and Hisui. They were originally a trio, as well as all male, when first introduced in Pokemon Black and White, but became a quartet with the introduction of the sole female member, Enamorus, in Pokemon Legends Arceus. All four of them share the flying type and are able to change form into their Therian forms from their incarnate forms using the Reveal Glass. They each represent a different season in Hisui and a different element of nature. Well, it is actually not for Enamorus, which, well, you will find out later. From a folktale that we can learn at Abundant Shrine. We find out that Landorus is more powerful and acts as a leader of Tornadus and Thundurus, while it should be equal to Enamorus. This is just my speculation, so don't take it seriously. In Pokemon Legends Arceus, Professor Laventon theorizes that the Therian forms are the true forms of the forces of nature. They are seen, in this form, when they travel the seas, while they assume their incarnate forms when staying in a region. Let's see them one by one now. Tornadus. Tornadus, Tornellos in the Japanese version, is the only flying type of the group. Tornadus is a green, muscular humanoid Pokemon, which resembles a Jin in incarnate form. It is a male-only species, and as I already said, with no female counterpart. It has two little horns on its head, a white, wavy, and billowy-styled hair, and a spiky white mustache. Tornadus's lower body consists of a trailing cloud and a purple curling tail. It can travel at speeds of 200 miles per hour and whip up frigid storms with its tail, which are strong enough to blow away houses and change the seasons. Tornadus is feared and despised by people and farmers for the destruction it causes with its ferocious gales when unleashed. It often comes into conflict with Thundurus, having fought each other since the beginning of time. Tornadus lives in the sky, usually around snowy areas, and it remains in its incarnate form while residing in a region. Its signature move is Bleak Wind Storm. In its Therian form, its true form, we can say, Tornadus is a large, green, long-necked bird Pokemon. It now doesn't have ears anymore, and the horns on its forehead have become thinner. It now has two strong legs and sharp talons, each with three sharp purple claws. Let's just say that it doesn't look like a normal bird, but something ancient and Jurassic. Thundurus. Thundurus, Voltolos in Japanese, is the electric flying Jin of the group. Thundurus's appearance is basically the same as Tornadus, but blue and has one horn. Its tail is also different. It looks like a big hula hoop with some spiked balls. Thundurus tends to cause forest fires whenever it flies around. Its lightning bolts can enrich the soil. Any area visited by Thundurus is marked by charred remains of areas it destroyed. So how does it enrich the soil if all the grounds it left are charred? Whatever, anyway. Thundurus is known to be disliked and feared by people and farmers for its destructive rampages. It has a fierce rivalry with Tornadus, but we already talked about it, so I am not going to repeat it. Thundurus usually lives around the oceans that cover a region while it is in that region. Wild Bolt Storm is its signature move. In Therian form, Thundurus is a large, blue, dragon-like Pokémon. The horn on its head is now thicker and longer. Its hair remains the same, while its arms have lost much of their muscular bulk and are now slimmer. Its hands are now covered in clouds, while its tail is long and doesn't look like a circle anymore. Thundurus can shoot thunderbolts from its tail, and uses these lightning bolts to annihilate foes into nothingness. It can also move so fast that it materializes without warning. Landorus. Landorus, in Japanese Landlos, is the ground type of the group. It is the orange one and has 3 horns. Its mustache is more uniformed, while its hair grows horizontally. Don't you think that it looks more like Heihachi than the other two? Anyway, its tail is root-like and it is thicker than its brothers. Landorus is considered the guardian of the fields. It helps the crops grow and has brought life to the Hishui region, alongside Enamorus. It is said that its tail can give nutrition to the soil, and this is because the energy stored in its tail is made by lightning and wind. I guess agriculture doesn't work like this, but okay. Landorus possesses great physical strength and can create powerful sandstorms during combat. The fact that it is more powerful than the other two is due to the fact that it can, somehow, manipulate lightning and wind, as said before. This still makes no sense to me, but whatever. Landorus can be summoned at Unova's Abundant Shrine with the presence of Tornadus and Thundurus. It lives in the sky, usually around islands surrounded by water. Its signature move is Sandsear Storm, and in its Therian form, Landorus is an orange, lean, tiger-like Pokémon. Its mustache now takes on a more fanged, maw-like appearance, curving around its head to behind its ears. The trailing clouds are now on its paws, resembling fur. Enamorus. Enamorus, Lovetolos in Japanese, is the fairy type and the only female of the group, and it is introduced during Generation 8 in Pokémon Legends Arceus. In its incarnate form, Enamorus is a pink djinn that is very thin, if you compare it to the others. It has 4 horns and, maybe it's just my opinion, it is quite ugly. Enamorus hair is white, and it has 2 tufts of hair that make the shape of a heart on its head. Its tail is long, brown, and resembles a snake wrapped around its neck. Enamorus is known as the Herald of Spring, the season of love, so to speak. I think that its role in this quartet fits so badly. As I mentioned before, it doesn't represent any element of nature. The developers basically introduced this Pokémon just to give a partner to Landorus. Something like wife and husband with the other two that can be considered their child. Anyway, Enamorus' signature move is Springtide Storm. In its Therian form, Enamorus looks like a turtle with its snake-like tail working as its shell. The cloud, instead, is now its fur and covers its whole body. It remains very ugly also in this form. Enamorus is known to be vengeful to those who disrespect any form of life, descending from the clouds to deliver a wrathful, ruthless punishment. The Guardian Deities. The Guardian Deities, also known as the Tapu, or Kapu in Japanese, are a group of legendary Pokémon from the Alola region who protect the archipelago. Each of them protect one of the 4 main islands in Alola. They all have a shrine or ruins dedicated to it on their own corresponding island. The island kahunas, the mayor of each island, so to speak, are also chosen by them. They all have Fairy type as the second type, share Telepathy as their hidden ability, and Land Spirit Pokémon as their category in the Pokédex, as well as have the common move Nature's Madness and its corresponding Z move, Guardian of Alola. Their primary abilities each create the terrain corresponding to their primary type, with the exception of Tapu Fini, which creates a terrain corresponding to its secondary type. The Guardian Deities can all pull their shells together and hide their bodies inside, creating an impression of a totem face and a stylized animal. In its closed shell state, Tapu Koko resembles a rooster, Tapu Lele resembles a butterfly, Tapu Bulu a bull, and Tapu Fini a swordfish. When encapsulated in their totem face shell, they absorb the energy of nature, and over long periods of time, they become hard and sturdy. According to a book called The Light of Alola in the Mali Library, a Solgaleo or a Lunala once came from an ultra wormhole and fought against the Guardian Deities, defeating them easily. As a reward for putting up a good fight, however, Tapunium Z was bestowed upon them. The legendary Pokémon then created many Cosmog for the Guardian Deities to protect and watch over until they fully evolve. According to secret notes found in the Mali Library, a Pillager of Light once invaded Alola, stealing all of its light and shrouding the region in darkness. The Guardian Deities fought against it at Tapu Village to regain the stolen light. Together with the assistance of a youth and the power of Z crystals, the Guardians were able to banish the invader, restoring Alola's light and freeing Solgaleo or Lunala. This set of events are known to have been the start of the Island Challenge that many trainers go on at the age of 11, which is another custom done in favor of the Tapu. Now let's see what kind of Pokemon they are, one by one. Tapu Koko. Tapu Koko, in Japanese Kapu Kokeko, this name is so funny, by the way, it is an electric fairy-type legendary Pokemon that is the guardian deity of Mele Mele Island. Tapu Koko is a vaguely rooster-like Pokemon. Its head and torso are black with some white markings all over its body. It has a long orange mohawk crest, while the lower half of its body is orange as well, with 4 pointed projections. On each of its arms is a shell that appears to be half of a bird mask, and its hands end in 2 large claws to create a beak for the mask. The black part should be its hands. I don't think we should consider those hands. The mask is mostly yellow with wing-shaped structures on each side toward the back. Tapu Koko is fickle and will not necessarily help people in need. It has an explosive temper, but it instantly forgets what enraged it in the first place. Due to this, Tapu Koko has been referred to as a malevolent deity should it get provoked. Tapu Koko is able to store electricity by closing itself inside its shells and can move lightning fast in order to confuse enemies that fight it. Tapu Koko and the other Guardian Deities are the only known Pokemon capable of learning the move Nature's Madness. They are also the only known Pokemon capable of using the Z move Guardian of Alola. Tapu Lele. Tapu Lele, Kapu Tetefu in the Japanese version, is the psychic type of the group that is the guardian of Akala Island. Tapu Lele is a vaguely butterfly-like Pokemon, and its body is mainly black. Now, in my opinion, it is very difficult to see it as a butterfly unless you watch it from the side when it is closed up. I actually thought it was a squid. You know that triangular hat, her long hair? Anyway, Tapu Lele has pink hair, and its barrel is also mostly pink. The people of Akala Island worship Tapu Lele as their guardian deity. It is known to scatter glowing scales, which affect others by stimulating and healing their bodies. However, these scales are also dangerous if too many are touched at once. It is sometimes described as cruel for the way it weakens others, as it scatters its scales for its own amusement. Tapu Lele gains its energy from the scent of flowers. Same story for its signature move, so I am not going to repeat it. Tapu Bulu. Tapu Bulu, Kapu Bululu in Japanese, is the grass type of the group and guardian deity of Ula Ula Island. Tapu Bulu is vaguely bull-like when it is closed in its shell. It has a bulky black body with thick arms and no legs. In the middle of its face is what appears to be a golden nose similar to a bull's snout, with a white ring across the nostrils. There are red rings around his shoulders and golden hooves at the end of his arms. Its tail is basically a bell, while its mask, its shell, vaguely resembles a sombrero hat. This guardian is able to command vegetation to grow and change shape as it will. Despite its fearsome power, it is largely inactive, leading some to consider it a lazy Pokemon. It has a peaceful disposition and does not like to cause unnecessary violence. However, it is merciless to those who offend it. The ruined Tapu village stands as another example of the Guardian's wrath. Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini, Kapu Rehire, the last one, is a water fairy Pokemon and the guardian of Pony Island. Tapu Fini is vaguely swordfish-like when it is closed up. It is actually a black, feminine Pokemon that resembles a mermaid. It has long hair, a fin on its lower body, and 3 claws on its hands. Tapu Fini's main body resides inside a violet shell that resembles a swordfish head, as I said. As the guardian of Pony Island, Tapu Fini can freely manipulate water, and it gains energy from ocean currents. Tapu Fini is both respected and feared. To avoid harm to itself in battle, it shrouds its surroundings in a mysterious fog that sends its opponents into a self-destructive trance. Disgusted by this history, Tapu Fini does not care much for humans. However, despite this, it is willing to help those who prove themselves worthy. The Treasures of Ruin. The Treasures of Ruin, or the Calamity Pokemon, are a quartet of legendary Pokemon consisting of Wo Chien, Chien Pao, Ting Lu, and Chi Yu. They originated in an unknown land, but reside in the Paldea region. They all share the Dark type, the category Ruinous Pokemon, and the signature move, Ruination. Damn, this is quite a big move in my opinion if you use it when the opponent is full HP. Talking about their signature abilities, they are all variations of each other, so we will cover them later. The appearance of these 4 are all inspired by ancient Chinese artifacts, like very ancient artifacts. You know, those relics that are from 200 years BC. They were once normal objects that originated from a distant land in the east of Paldea, but as time passed, each of the treasures were corrupted by negative emotions, grudge, hatred, fear, and envy, respectively. One day, in the ancient times of Paldea, a merchant came from the east in possession of these 4 treasures and presented them to the Chaldean king. In excitement, the treasure-obsessed king quickly bought them all, keeping them in his castle with his other treasures. The king's greed, however, eventually caused the 4 treasures to awaken, transforming into their Pokémon forms. The 4 went berserk and caused a disaster that completely destroyed the castle and almost the entire kingdom afterwards. Wo-Chien. Wo-Chien, Chiongen in Japanese, is the grass type of the group, so it is a dark grass dual type. It is a snail-like Pokémon comprising a dark green, mossy form covered in dead leaves. 2 pairs of long, curling vines form its eye stalks. A long row of wooden tablets curled around its backside forms its shell. This row of wooden tablets is actually its true form. Wo-Chien is able to drain the life force of vegetation in a wild area around it, causing entire forests and fields to become barren. Its signature ability, Tablets of Ruin, allow it to nerf the attack of all other Pokémon on the field by 25%. Qianpao. Qianpao, Pao-Jian in the Japanese version, is the ice type of them. Qianpao is a pantherine Pokémon with a body composed of snow. Ice crystals run down its back and legs, and also form its claws, eyes, and whiskers. Its large fangs, tipped with ice, comprise 2 pieces of a broken, ornately patterned sword. Like Wo-Chien, Qianpao's true form is the broken sword forming its fangs, having been given life by the hatred of people slain by the sword. Qianpao is described as being able to control 100 tons of fallen snow, causing avalanches and playing around in them innocently. Its signature ability, Sword of Ruin, decreases the defense of all Pokémon in the field by 25%. Ting-Lu. Ting-Lu is the ground type. It is the bigger and the heavier of them. Ting-Lu is large, resembling a deer or a moose, and its body is composed of layered rock. Upon its head is a large ritual vessel cracked down the middle. Needless to say that Ting-Lu's true form is that of the ritual vessel on its head, having been given life by the fear of humans from ancient times. It is said that Ting-Lu can crack the land just by slowly putting down his head on the ground. I guess that is just a rumor. No one can crack the land if you go slow, right? By the way, its signature ability, Vessel of Ruin, affects the special attack on Pokémon on the field. Chi-Yu. Chi-Yu, Yi-Yui in Japanese, is the last one and the fire type of the party. Chi-Yu is basically a little red fish made of fire. It has 2 pairs of curved jade beads as its eyes. These jade beads are actually its true body that took life by the envy of humans. Chi-Yu is the smallest of the 4. It doesn't reach half meter and weighs almost 5 kilograms. Despite its small size, its flames can burn at over 3,000 degrees Celsius, allowing it to melt rock and sand into lava. Its signature move has the same effect as the others, but affects the special defense. Now, we have finally finished all the legendary quartets. So let me give you a bonus. What I'm going to talk about now is the legendary giants, the only quintets of the legendary group. Of course, without considering their creator, otherwise they should be 6. The legendary giants. The legendary giants are 5 elementary Pokémon made by Regigigas, the primal, colossal, and titanic giant. They are also known as Regis and reside in several different regions such as Hoenn, Sinnoh, Unova, and Galar, specifically the Crown Tundra. They were originally a trio when first introduced in Pokémon Ruby and Sapphire, but became a quintet with the introduction of Regieleki and Regidrago in Pokémon Sword and Shield's expansion, the Crown Tundra. About these last 2, Peony, one of the main NPC of the expansion, said that they should be considered as twin Pokémon. I am not sure if we should consider that true. I mean, they are very different and not just on type. All of them have 7 dots for eyes, arranged in a different pattern, similar to the braille that is connected to their legend. As I said, the legendary Pokémon Regigigas created these Pokémon in its own image, using ice, rocks, magma, a cluster of electric energy, and crystallized dragon energy respectively. The last 2, Regieleki and Regidrago, should be more powerful than the others, but, unfortunately, both do not have access to their full potential, as Regieleki has equipment that limit its power, and Regidrago was sealed within ancient ruins before it was completed. Regirock. Regirock is the rock type and first created, so to speak. It is a large golem-like Pokémon made of brown and orange rocks, granting it a durable physique. It has long arms with jutting shoulders and club-like hands without fingers. It used to be worshipped by humans, however, at some point, ancient people started fearing its power and sealed it away. Regirock can repair itself using common rocks if it gets damaged. Scientists have found out that Regirock is 100% made of rock. It doesn't have a heart or a brain. It shares the ability Clear Body with Regice and Registeel, and has a funny hidden ability called Sturdy. Check it out, if you don't know what it does. Oh yeah, this Pokémon is a reference to the Stone Age. Regice. Regice, the ice type as you can imagine by the name, is a large blue Pokémon composed of very solid ice. It has 3 small fingers at the end of its arms, and its 2 legs are conical, and it balances its entire body on their points. Regice moves around by floating in the air. It cloaks itself in air that is minus 200 degrees Celsius, and anything near it will become frozen solid. Its deep frozen body can't be melted, even surviving when submerged in molten lava. It is said that this golem has slept in a glacier for thousands of years. It has the hidden ability Ice Body, which lets it regain HP during hailstorm, and of course it is a reference to the Ice Age. Registeel. Registeel, the last one introduced in Generation 3, is a steel type, and surprisingly it weighs less than Regirock. Registeel is a large robotic Pokémon. It has a round body and the inner part of its body is black, while its outfit is steel gray color. It of course has 7 dots as its eyes, and has knuckles on its hands with the same color. According to legend, Registeel was created by using magma. Its body is hollow and made of a mineral that is harder than any other known metal found on Earth. However, this material stretches and shrinks despite its hardness. Registeel is a reference to the Iron Age. Regieleki. Regieleki, the electric type of the group, introduced during the 8th generation expansion, is an electric golem-like Pokémon made mostly of electric energy generated by a single organ. It has a round yellow body, its arms are shaped like lightning, and usually appear bunched together, while its legs are tiny and resemble both lightning bolts or an electrical plug. Its body can glow bright yellow when attacking. Regieleki also has 5 blue rings on its body that should be the equipment that limits its full potential. I think that they are Rubbermaid, but I am not sure about that. Regieleki was created by using pure electric energy. It is said that if the rings on his body were to be removed, Regieleki would be able to unleash its latent powers. It absorbs electrons in order to stay alive, and is said to have the greatest power of any electric-type Pokémon, being powerful enough to generate all of Galar's electricity. Thunder Cage is its signature move, and it is a very nice move to me, while its unique ability, Transistor, is less interesting. This Regis should be a reference to the Industrial Age, the invention of the light bulb, I guess. Regidrago. Regidrago, the last of one of the group, is a dragon-type legendary Pokémon also introduced in the Crown Tundra expansion. Regidrago is a spherical, golem-like Pokémon with a dark red body made of crystallized dragon energy. It is quite a cute Pokémon, if we don't watch its arms. Its arms are made of black and resemble a dragon's head. The right arm resembles the upper jaw, complete with horns and, quote, eye sockets, while the left arm is shaped like a lower jaw. It also has 2 red spikes on its back that resemble wings, although it doesn't use these to fly, as it is capable of floating in the air. This dude should be the tallest of the group, but for some reason, as you can see in this image, they made it small in the anime series. Due to its body composition, Regidrago is said to have the most powerful dragon-type moves of all Pokémon, along with the power of every dragon-type Pokémon. I think it can be more powerful than Rayquaza. I mean, no one can be more powerful than Rayquaza if we talk about dragon-type Pokémon, right? Okay, I might not be that objective this time, but who cares? Change my mind if you can. Anyway, there is an unproven academic theory that posits that Regidrago's arms originated from the head of an ancient dragon Pokémon, and it can convert its life force into power, attacking its opponents. Its signature move is Dragon Energy, a very powerful dragon-type attack if used in full HP. Its unique ability, Dragon's Maw, does the same as Transistor for Regieleki. I don't know what reference this guy has, the Dragon Age maybe?